Right on the dot. It's 10 o'clock. Welcome, Joey. Hopefully we'll get some more in here at some point.
Sounds good.
I think we had like 3 committed to saying they were gonna. Oh, here's somebody. Here's Thomas.
Nice.
Thomas, what's up, buddy? Can you hear us?
How you doing?
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, sure. This is a new concept. I've never tried anything like this before, but
It sounds okay to me.
yeah,
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
seems
We're
reasonable.
We're all isolated, aren't we?
It's we're bringing together a bunch of hermits for a little session.
That's one of my favorite cards in the tarot deck, the Hermit card.
Oh yeah. So
Are you recording this?
it's recording. It's already going.
Okay.
So I'm out here in the car because the house is gonna be loud, and I just wanted a little bit of privacy as well. So I don't have the charger. I imagine the laptop will last roughly an hour, something like that. So we have an hour to shoot the shit.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
I think 2 more people are supposed to be. Samir might be coming. He's supposed to be working, but he said he's gonna try and pop in.
How you
at some
doing,
point.
Joey?
Good. Nice to meet you, Thomas.
Where are you from?
I'm in Oregon.
Oregon.
Yeah. How about yourself?
Tennessee.
Nice.
So do you guys know each other at all? Do you know of each other? Have you seen like on Facebook or anything?
I've never met Joey.
No.
Think
Okay.
elusive.
It's a random collection of people that I know of that agreed to come in here. So it's gonna be an interesting sort of conversation.
I mean, get some minds together.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Good.
So the concept of the group is, of course, as I named it, it's guys coming out of isolation, at least to an extent. I know it's not any easy thing. If you've gone down the path whatsoever, then you simply become isolated. That's what I've noticed. And you can talk to, close family members about certain things and not other things. And there's just a sense of sort of aloneness or loneliness. And we, in turn, by virtue of that phenomenon, we have we don't really have outlets for us being able to express ourselves as much as your average Joe will have, like, say, at church or even at an AA meeting. Even at AA meetings, it's a very, I've been there, and it's a very still sort of structured thing where you have to be sort of fitting into a certain mind. So basically what this is a place for guys to get together and actually like hash shit out, and it's going to be very unorganized. There's no religious or philosophical underpinning that someone has to stick to. It's just what it is, right?
Well, I mean, I can see that because we're all. It's kind of like having a foot in each world.
Mm-hmm.
You have to play this world, but you know it's not right. You know that there's another world there.
Maybe many worlds. I feel like I have
yeah,
a foot in about a million different worlds, but I'm still here.
But you know this one's not the right one.
Exactly.
It's all based on lies.
This is the upside down one.
Yeah, the inversion. Yeah.
It's all an inversion, though, it feels like.
Yeah, everything's backwards and upside down and inside out.
Right.
So go ahead,
I'm
Joey.
sorry.
Go ahead.
Yes, have you guys been part of other, like, men's groups or anything like that in the past? Or?
I've never been a part of a men's group. I've been a part of groups, but inevitably I came out of them because of what I said before, because the structure became too entraining and my mind couldn't handle it, and I that's why I came out of it. And it just feels like it's just difficult if you've gone to a certain point, you can't relate to so-called normal people very well, and you just don't have an outlet to simply express your feelings. Like, and as human beings with emotions, we need to be able to express, regardless of how macho any of us, feels like we need to be or whatever. If you're dying inside a slow death, you're not serving yourself. Like, we do need that outlet to be able to express ourselves.
Absolutely.
So, can I ask both of you, in your current life, how many men do you communicate with on a regular basis, or you feel a part of any sort of community or group or anything like that?
Well, I don't communicate with my father or my brother. I can't communicate because they're not on the same plane. I do have several ladies that I talk to once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
That's about as, that's the only ones I can talk to, because they get me, and
Joey?
I get them.
Joey?
Yeah, I'd say the same. I guess the closest as far as guys I get or relate with is probably you, Gary, and as seldomly as we've connected recently. But yeah, just my wife, and yeah, I haven't been successful with maintaining relationships well, especially with men. Sadly, or feeling supported. So.
Right. And it's a necessary thing. It's completely necessary. And I also want to sort of state at the outset that I'm not out to save the world by any means. I'm not out to somehow combat all of the bullshit that we're all well aware is out there. I'm simply here to sort of provide a bit of nourishment, I guess you could say, to the stragglers that are sort of adrift on the sea out there. That's really that's what I feel is my main role here, because every time I've ever tried to sort of be loud, like make a lot of noise with sort of my internal state, then the machine or whatever simply doesn't like it, or else just people's internal state as programmed by all that stuff, there's like so I simply can't do that. It just doesn't work. So that's all my intent is for this group. Whoever flows through here, or if this is the first and last time, or if not, if it goes again, it's just a way for people to connect, for guys to connect and feel like you're cared about by at least a few people.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, you always have to try.
I mean, that's how it is on a daily basis sometimes, just trying to me, like, it's literally like waking up and seeing a TV screen and like having to hop into the TV screen and like trying to interact with the people and the minds that are here. There's such a dichotomy or a difference between if you've gone through the gauntlet in some form and the other people who are sort of living the surface lives. I can be polite and talk to them, but there isn't any communication that's further than that.
And everybody's got a story. Mm-hmm. Everybody's got a story.
Right.
That's your experience. It's how you experience this reality.
And everyone's story is valid as well. Even the stories that we sort of don't relate with, the mainstream stuff, they still have stories and they're still valid. But there is as well a lot of suppression, and so-called truthers do of course get suppressed because that's the nature of the system.
Yeah.
I heard somebody say, like, as far as the war, I guess you could call it, the spiritual war, it's what that entity or force it doesn't like is it doesn't like open heart-to-heart communication between beings. That's what it doesn't like.
That's true.
Because it wants to take that for itself, right? So your heart gets blocked off, and then you retreat inside, and then you start dying. That's essentially how I've seen it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna send Rama a quick message because he was saying he was gonna join.
Where's Rama from?
Ventura.
Ventura?
Yeah.
I'm going to be 1 second. I'm just going to turn this air conditioner off.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Have you been, Joey? Spill
Good.
it.
Good. I was thinking it might be good to, I don't know if you wanted to, but maybe inviting Big John from Canada.
Oh yeah, he kind of fell off from communication. He would be great though. That guy's a powerhouse.
Yeah, he seems like he's a sweet guy, and I don't know, he'd be fun.
Yeah. I just went through the list and like clicked on anybody who I thought could benefit or wouldn't be too turned off.
Yeah.
So Thomas, do you live with anybody, or is it just you and your dog?
Just me and my buddy.
Is that his name? Is his name Buddy?
No, his name's Little Bear.
Little Bear? Nice.
I rescued him from a friend, but I like the Little Bear name that he came with, but I really call him Little Buddha Bear. Because he teaches me lessons and I teach him lessons.
He's your spirit animal?
Well, I mean, animals teach you things.
Completely. We have 3 animals at the place we're at now. One of them is Saki, who's just a crazy little. She's like a little bear. We call her a bear because we call her Saki Bear because she's not like a regular dog. She just got a haircut, so she shrunk about half in size. But every time someone comes in the door, she goes crazy barking, and she doesn't ever learn that it's us. Like, it's just us, people she knows, every single time, and every single time she just like goes nuts.
Well, it's instinctive for them to do that.
Yeah, protecting the space, right?
Oh yeah, always. And that's what I learned from him. He's a puppy. He's only 14 months old, but I know he's in adolescence right now. He's trying to figure things out.
Mm-hmm.
He's become aggressive a little bit, but he's really a sweetheart. Well, he's trying to find himself too. I always try to calm him down because I think that's really is to be able to not control but to master your emotions. On your reactions.
Yeah, that's the emotions are a crazy thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's, for instance, just a simple thing that girls can do, which is cry. We've been somehow conditioned that that's wrong or that's unmanly, right? And I think you guys both know, anytime you've actually felt safe enough to cry, there's so much happening in that little period of time that it's impossible to you can't even talk about it. Like, whenever I've been able to cry, it's like jumping into the ocean for 5 minutes or something. Then you come out and you're cleared up, like you clear, because your body it's like tributaries and oceans and rivers and lakes. There's all kinds of, your blood flow is something like that. And I think when emotions happen, it's like that flow, if it's been blocked up, it starts releasing out.
Yeah, this is your ship.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Which is probably why all of the maritime law stuff, because it's more adequately called like an ocean than a sort of, land mass or something.
Well, everything goes back to water, because that's what life is. Is really water is flow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's this thought that I think I heard it was Owen Benjamin say something like this, that he cries through his sweat, and I kind of identified with that. Like, by sweating, it's you're getting it out. It's what's held in, even though it's not coming out like emotionally, it's still flowing or coming out in a way.
Yeah.
You feel better after working, or sweating, or you're putting your efforts into something, something to that end.
Yeah, definitely. When I go to the gym and get really sweaty, you have that sort of runner's high as well afterward, like where your adrenaline is going, and it's like things get moving. I know for myself, especially if you're sort of a meditative person where you like the sort of peace of the moment. We're also motion as well. Like the body is motion as well. So I know for myself, if I get into too much meditation, then I will start stagnating internally. And going to the gym, it helps. I can feel like the energy start moving. If I'm just too much meditating, my whole body in the interior will feel like it's not moving whatsoever. Like I will feel like literally nothing's happening, which is nice because it's peaceful. But at the same time, like we're living and we're flowing. We're supposed to be flowing as well as being able to sit in that 0 point.
Yeah.
Well, that's all it's about. It's flowing.
It is.
Yeah.
It's all about flowing, and if you look at the sort of upside down that we're in, everything is tailored to anti-flow. It's tailored to, I'm getting up at this time, I'm doing such and so for this amount of time, then I'm stopping at this time, and then the second you stop, your mind is conditioned to think about what's coming next rather than any sort of flow or present state awareness.
Well, that comes into rituals, and that's all based. I mean, if you lose the ritual ideology, just do what you want to do. Just flow through it, and that's why I'm going to do that because I don't work.
Yeah.
Just live my life the way I like to life. I just flow with I live my way, huh?
Yeah.
I don't let anything distract me.
That's good.
I like the beard. How long have you been working on it?
2 years now.
3 years?
Oh, 2 years.
2 years. Yeah.
I talked to Lada a couple of years ago, and she said, you need to clean it up. I shaved everything off, cut my hair, and then I sent her a picture. And I said, well, I'm not doing it ever again. Not again. No.
Why'd you listen to Lauda?
She told me I need to clean my act up. I said, well, my act is cleaned up. I do pretty good. I thought I had a little change. I already had a beard, but it was half as long as this.
Uh-huh.
And I cut. That's why I'm not cutting it no more. I like my hair. It's my end.
The beard is good. Like, the beard is good. It's like what if you guys listen to Matt at all. I don't know if you listen to Matt. Do you listen to Quantum of Conscious?
Yeah.
I don't think I've heard that.
Yeah, it's Matt's always saying, like, whatever the thing wants, that machine out there, whatever it wants, flip it upside down, and then that's what's healthy for you. So the machine says, chop off all your facial hair, okay, then grow out a big-ass beard. Like, if it says, wear a tie, then just take your shirt off and run around naked. Like, that's essentially whatever feeling state you get that is the correct thing to do in society. The natural thing and the good thing is the opposite. Which, of course, won't get you a job, and it won't get you a pension, and it won't get you the acceptance of all the people, but...
Yeah, that's the problem, because you have to be accepted. They have to be accepted and go with the flow here, and that flow is the wrong flow.
Yeah.
The whole way how we exist in all these different dimensions and worlds, realms, and how to be successful in as many as possible, I guess.
Yeah, I think to be mindful that, if you take the sort of knowledge that you're multidimensional, like this is one aspect, this whole entire life is one aspect of a larger soul or a larger being, and also take the notion that everything is present, everything exists simultaneously, like past and future is just thoughts. If you combine those two, then you see very likely there's other forms of me living other existences that are directly tied to this one and are probably somewhat benefiting from if we're going through some sort of suffering or trauma or pain. It's just like the balance thing. So that sort of notion can help if you feel, oh man, like this realm is so fucked up and it's so backwards and I have so much non-help. That can help to just like realize this probably is balanced out. We just can't really see it necessarily from this level.
Well, I figure a lot of people that realize what's going on, that kind of get depresses them.
Mm-hmm.
It don't depress me because I know what it is. It is what it is. You just have to work with it.
Mm. Yeah. How do you deal with it, Thomas? Aside from, because you said you just do what you want, so like you're kind of like not interacting with that society entity, right?
I disassociated myself away from all that society. I mean, I wander out there and I talk to people because I like to talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
And I subtly throw little seed bombs out there just to see what they have to say and see what their reactions are.
Mm-hmm.
But that's about all I do, really. I mean, I just do my thing.
Did you save up some money, or how do you survive monetarily?
I'm collecting. I'm on Social Security.
You're on Social Security, okay.
Yeah. I got disabled. I had a stroke.
Okay.
I had a pretty good job. I mean, I'm not unhappy about not working because my work was I was building cell towers.
Oh yeah.
And then after I quit working, I found out what cell towers were all about.
Uh-huh. Were you building the 5G ones or just cell towers in general?
Well, 5G hadn't come out then. This was 5 years ago.
Okay.
I was at regular cell towers, monopoles. I was on the site. I was building the sites for them, and I had another crew that erected the towers.
Okay.
I did all the electronics down below, put the buildings in, poured the concrete, put the grounding systems in, all that crap.
So can you then tell us how to take them down?
Well, I've been looking into Organite, tower cluster.
Exactly.
That was a feasible. That was William Reich, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He brought that out. I've been looking at that. The only way you can really bring a tower down is if you could loosen all the nuts on the ground and let them fall over. But then you get in trouble with being destructive. And I didn't want to be destructive. I'm looking for ways to combat this frequency system that's going around. I mean, it's a net and it's really tightened down right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's intrusive. It's in your electric system. It's everywhere. Yeah.
And the problem that I see is that it's invisible, right? The electromagnetic spectrum for the most part to us, to our eyes, is invisible. And so you can't sit there and say, especially say you're a TI or you're someone who's very susceptible to EMF. How do you tell someone, like, I feel like my insides are boiling and I don't know where it's coming from, but can someone help me? Like, how would you tell someone about that?
Well, now what I started at is electricity. I told them, I said, think about electricity, about the voltage going through your wires. You can't see that voltage, can you? Mm. It's invisible. There's an invisible world that you cannot see.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
I mean, you can only perceive through your eyes what you can tangibly see, but how do you know what electricity is? You don't have no idea because you can't see it. That's why I started out.
But then there are people who can see. Like, there are people who claim they can see people's auras. There are people who claim they can see the actual Wi-Fi flying through the air. Like,
But they're not your normal people, though.
They're not your normal people, but, like, it feels like whatever we have come to as living beings, it's a tightening down system to where you start off, like, somehow seeing everything that's in the space, and then that's too much for consciousness to handle, so it has to whittle it down somehow and block out a bunch of them until all of a sudden human shapes appear and then buildings appear, and it's like you're still in that sort of infinite sea or soup, but you've blocked a whole bunch of stuff out. But it's still there, it's just you can't see it. It's still somehow there. It's very strange to think about. Thomas froze.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, like all radiations, essentially, and even microwave radiation. Like, I think that there's places in the the world that it's illegal to have microwave ovens because of the radiation and the harmful effects that it gives off. Not to mention like the neutralizing effect of how it's eating food on our what it's trying to do just by warming it up in convenience. How do we get him back? I'm sorry.
He should be able to just click on the link again. What do you know, Joey, what microwaves are actually doing, theoretically speaking, to food? Because why? Someone told me, but I forgot. Like, why is that supposed to be harmful to the food?
It's essentially like sending what is it, like wave molecules or quickly and heating up like the water molecules within food, essentially. And by doing that, rather than like warming it up naturally, it's like kind of boiling it from within.
So it's like increasing the vibration of the water molecules, which makes them hotter, which heats the surrounding sort of food material.
I think it's something like that. And with that, like it's negating the nutritional value of it because of it's being warmed up in a obtuse way.
Thomas, do you have a working understanding of how microwaves heat food?
Inside out.
From the inside?
From the inside. It changes the molecular structure of the water, of carbon, oxygen. That's about all I know. I'm not really scientific on. All I know is it cooks it from inside out. So you're being cooked inside out in microwaves.
Right.
Yeah.
Microwave
anyway,
ovens.
I'm back though. I got knocked off for a little bit.
Yeah, we saw you jump off.
I didn't leave. It just happened. They didn't want me to say something. I was trying to tell you that it's really not. We're not here to fight anything.
Yeah, I don't feel like we are. I feel like if you come to some level of understanding of, spiritual understanding, you see that it's all you in a sense.
Yeah.
And like a very simple example is if you have a significant other, and you treat them as like this person is the same as me somehow internally they're the same as me. You're not gonna like mistreat that person if you take that viewpoint. If you say this is such and so person and they're definitely not me, then you bring them into the realm of war possibilities, because now you're like it's that fundamental thing of the self versus the other.
Exactly.
The McCarthyism thing. I had a passenger yesterday that was talking about McCarthyism and about how in a society that's been entrained into a very specific way of being, if you stick out in any way, shape, or form, it doesn't matter which way the sticking out happens, you become like a nail, and then the hammer has to come and smash you back in because you're disrupting the pattern.
Or you could parallel it with you being a white blood cell, part of the immune system. You could metaphorically put it that way too, because there's the community is really is aware of what's going on, but you can transmit that with your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
You just change your thought pattern. That's all you have to do.
Right.
That's challenging, but I would like to learn better ways to do that.
Share your secrets, Thomas. Can I read this real quick, just so we all understand microwaves a slight bit better? Microwave ovens are so quick and efficient because they channel heat directly to the molecules inside of food. Microwaves heat food like the sun heats your face by radiation. A microwave is much like the electromagnetic waves that zap through the air from TV and radio transmitters. So I guess it's like the molecules are literally targeted somehow by that energy, and whatever is around the molecules are able to be targeted, get heated.
It speeds them up.
Yeah.
It speeds them up.
So not all the molecules are targeted, but the ones that can receive that output will heat the other ones around them by virtue of being close.
And believe it or not, that was a military project before it became public to the masses. Michael, I ain't kidding you, it was a military project.
I'm sure most of our technology started off as military projects.
Almost everything that's bad for us was probably a military project at one point or another.
Well, I take the general standpoint that technology in general is bad for us.
Yeah.
We've removed the 40-minute time limit on your first group meeting. This meeting now has unlimited minutes. Thanks, Zoom.
They did something nice today, didn't they?
Yeah. They're being nice. What were we talking about?
Oh, you're talking about microwave?
Microwaves.
Technology being bad.
Oh, technology being bad, yeah. Yeah. I mean, technology isn't just bad, but it's like it gets the natural order just fucked up somehow. However it happens, it just f's it up, and you can see by looking with your eyeballs that we're not connected with nature like we're supposed to be. Like, we are not working directly with the trees and the land and being respectful to all of those elements of Earth at all. Like, and we are kind of being forced to do that through the society. If you're going to interact with the society, then you have a house and you've walled yourself off from all the elements, and you have a central air, and you have a TV piping all this stuff into your head. Like, it's not, nobody could argue that that's natural.
Well, it's sort of like technology is way up here and consciousness is way down here, and they haven't matched each other yet.
Yeah.
They haven't. Because technology can be beneficial.
If it's used responsibly.
To a point. Yeah, if you're responsible, yeah. I mean, you can imagine what they have in the works. They probably hundreds of years ahead of where society is tonight now, and they don't want to bring that stuff out. They've suppressed all kinds of technology.
Oh yeah.
Probably for the betterment, because we're probably not ready for it.
Yeah.
Also, surprise us when they do unleash it. We'll just be that much more easy to fall for it. You know, we'll just be that much more amazed and unbelieving of what is actually happening when it's actually a technology rather than like, oh, it's magic, or oh, it's aliens, or whatever. It's
Well, think about technology in the sense that we're the humans. We're the ones that developed the technology. So how did it come about? We brought it forth. So it's really an external version of what's inside of us.
Yeah, and all technology mimics nature anyway.
Huh.
Every single bit of it mimics nature.
but it's like the artificial false version of it. Like it's the bastardized.
Yeah, it's image. Like even the biblical language that says "Thou shalt have no other gods before me." I see technology as that. Like it has become a savior in a sense, and it saves us from the real, which is it's saving us from the big bad nature, and the nature isn't even bad. Like it's just beautiful cycles. You can look out at a flower and say like that thing is evil, you know.
Exactly.
That's the disconnect.
And to try to somehow, it's just a lot of, like, for me, it's a lot of worldviews to try and integrate while still living in this society somehow, which is like blind and dumb and deaf and just like plunging at 1,000 miles an hour off of a cliff. Like, it's hard to do all those things at the same time and still like maintain some level of sanity and still, you know, be able to have energy to do the daily tasks that are necessary.
So what if we can, I know it sounds kind of maybe hokey, but like finding, like whether it's the beginning part of your day or the end part of your day, you know, connecting with nature and the world or the elements, you know, the directions, you know, and just giving a moment to like to ground and to to connect in whatever way we choose to. I think that's what we're supposed to do. I mean, we're supposedly clay beings or made of clay or
Claymation.
Right. like the four colors of clay, like the four colors of man, essentially on the cycle as well. So it's interesting.
Well, if you look at the birds sing in the morning and they sing in the evening, and that's what we lost. We lost that touch. We should be singing with the birds.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, because that's. I mean, if you look at the Cascadia, the synergy of Cascadia of the what they call that what's that bug? Katydid.
Katydid.
Yeah. Well, see, the Acadia lives with the tree. When it drops its egg, it drops its egg in the tree, in the bark, and it eventually falls into the root system. And what it does there's so many cycles. There's probably a 14-year, a 15-year, or 7-year. They're all different cycles, and they absorb all that information from the tree. And the tree's getting all the information from the star, from the sun, Sol. And Sol gets all its information directly from all the other stars. So that bug releases a tune into the forest of all the information that is gathered over all those years being in hibernation. That's called synergy. The forest talks to you.
Right.
You just have to listen.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't listen anymore.
Yep.
Having the ears to hear, like or the heart to hear. Hear with your heart rather than just your ears.
Yeah. You wanted to hear my secret? I live in nature. I live out here in the woods, and I connect with all the birds, the squirrels, the animals. And I talk to the trees.
Do they talk back?
Well, yeah, they tell me things, and I also can see their energy coming off the plants. I can see energy coming off the animals. I've just started seeing auras off the trees.
Oh, nice.
But I try to keep myself connected to that world and this world at the same time, because I know this is the reality, and it is what it is. But I try to keep myself connected with that part too, and that's kind of what keeps me sane in the same world.
Yeah. And the weird part about it, which isn't maybe weird, but when you get in nature enough, I think you realize like the silliness of achievement and goals and all this. Like, none of that's doing any achieving or goals or anything. It's very naturally flowing with itself and within itself, and it's like it's all one process that never starts and never stops, and it just goes on forever, like perfectly. And then you contrast that with what happens when you get inside of a city. All of a sudden you're on mental entrainments, and they're like, do this to get that, to do this to get that, to do this to get that, but it doesn't fulfill you spiritually whatsoever. It just makes you feel like you're dying.
Yeah, and plus it's non-judgmental too. Judge anything out there. I mean, it's that's where we used to be. That's where we need to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas, like being in nature, it's sustaining, and it provides and rejuvenates us. Whereas being like the concrete jungle, it's all parasitical. We're like having to vampire off of other people. There's this thought that like if you've lost your power, go out in nature, and she'll lend you yours until you find it. Like that.
I see that parasitical mindset in nature too. Yeah, so you really do. You see it out. You see it there in nature, because everything eats something. Everything lives off of something else. But it's a different formula altogether, though.
It's you could even just you could even just classify it in terms of like one is pretty and one's ugly. Like the bugs, you know, maggots eating a dead carcass is there's like, it's beautiful to me because like there's no waste. They didn't have to sit there and fill out forms to be like, all right, we got this dog carcass over here, so we gotta organize the teams, and you know, it's there's such a efficiency with it that doesn't leave like time for the animals to sit there and like freak out about it and even have foreknowledge of, you know, a so-called bad event. It's just all seamlessly interwoven. And here all the parasitical stuff is still going on, but like you're given notes in the mail about it, you know, before it happens, and then so you can internally percolate that even worse. You can magnify it like 100 times.
Well, you could look at it that way. You can, then when I hear you say that, it's sort of like you made a division: a good parasite and a bad parasite.
Yeah.
It's all a friggin' division, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
How else do you talk about things?
All right.
I don't.
I talk a lot.
That's how you talk. That's how I talk. It chops things up. Like the first concept chopped up the existence. But that's how we communicate. Unless we're like, I don't know, somehow being telepathic. It's a strange thing. Like, I know what you're saying. It's very strange to use language to talk about the life when, if you hop outside of the concepts, you're just in life, and it's even in the city. Like it outside of like putting thought forms into it, it all works out. Like it does what it does.
Yeah, it's a big ball of yarn, isn't it?
There's a lot going on, and it's different every day. Like, to me, my mindset's different. I wake up feeling different, you know. Like, there's such a non-continuity to feeling states that if I can give myself into that, then it's just amazing. Like, it's just astounding how even moment to moment everything changes internally and externally.
I tried to grasp this concept of everybody coming here to do a job. I don't think it's a job. I think what you're doing is you're changing the morphogenic field with your thoughts, your actions, your reactions.
Mm-hmm.
If you change your thought pattern and don't dive into all these other carrots that are running around all the time, and eventually it will change.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, we're not here for We're not here to be a savior. We're not here to be victims. We're not here to be the perpetrator. We're just here to change the morphogenic field, the collective. I know that sounds more like the beehive thing, but you know, that's two different modalities in itself. Being in singularity.
I feel that too, for sure.
Because AI is pushing for that singularity, but that's a different singularity. That's the inverted singularity. If you want, I mean, if you talk about version inversion, then you're dividing yourself again. It goes back to division.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the major cause that's happening here. Is everything's in division. I mean, man and woman are divided.
Right.
What do you think? If the AI could have a goal for pushing towards singularity, unless that's just what it automatically does, what could be the reason for it? Do you think? Or is that just a natural thing that happens when sort of computational power just doubles every such and so years, and it just has to happen according to that?
Well, it gets you into that pyramid effect because it wants to be top of the pyramid. It wants to have control.
I think it's going exactly that willful assimilation, where it doesn't have to kill us to conquer us, but we want that. We want to give our will over to it, or our power to it.
Well, if you think of AI as being a parasite, parasites have to have something to feed off of. So if they destroy us, they have nothing to feed off of.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They kill themselves. That's how all parasites are. If they destroy their host, they don't have a host no more. They die.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a strange thought. But it's not any more strange than like the thought of we keep chickens, and then there are also people that feel like we're on some sort of a farm and being harvested by some higher dimensional being for whatever, for emotions. And it's the same thing. Like if you're okay with keeping chickens, then by virtue of that, you're okay with being a chicken at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like energetic consent. So like you were saying, changing the morphogenic field, I think that is what a lot of what it is, because we can't see the effects we're having. Even by having a conversation like this, we can't see the effects that it has on other people who watch it. We can't see how that ripple effect or that butterfly effect goes out. That's why I make videos, because I don't know what exact effect is happening, but I know like it's coming from my own truth and it's affecting people somehow. So it is what it is. I don't know exactly how it works.
That's all we can do, though. I mean, you really, you don't want to play into the system, but you have to work with it.
Yeah.
It's all baby stuff, is what it really is.
Do you guys follow politics at all, or do you just stay away from that completely?
Well, I keep an eye on. That's about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even really want to get. I don't have nothing to do with politics, but I watch it.
Yeah.
Cut out after Bush. It took too much energy. Fucking guy.
But we know it's a game, and it's scripted, and it's all scripted, and it's always been a script.
It's just a tool meant to divide us in different ways. And,
Exactly.
As long as we align with any of the parties or any of the colors or whatever, I mean, we're then further dividing ourselves from the unity consciousness, or like as long as somebody is trying to be the winner and make the other one the loser, we're always going to be in that cycle of, rather than when I want you to win and I want to win too, and want, and we're not done until we all win. Like once we just shift our thinking, I don't know, it's
well, it's in all aspects of society. I mean, in this society, even your sports, everything's division. They divide you everywhere they can. It's all division. It's all. Religion's the same way. I don't do religion either.
Yeah.
Is there?
I have my own. I don't even like to use the word belief, but I have my own concepts.
Yeah.
My ideas. Yeah.
My brother calls it inner knowings. He says like he has just like little insights that sort of guide him.
Well, that's what it's all about. It's about how to know thyself.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's an inner you and there's you, and you need to talk to inner you, because that's the one that's going to help you.
Right.
All this external shit ain't going to help you.
And the inner you is probably the one that has memory of past lives, or of connections to the stellar network, connections to all of these things that we've numbed ourselves out from. Like if you look inside your own mind and say, do I have knowledge of all these connections, direct knowledge and direct, a feeling attachment to those things? And if you say no, then you have to be able to find some way of connecting to that. Otherwise, you're just a cartoon character that's running around here on 3D Earth. And that's very unfulfilling for our inner spirit. Like we can't live like that. I know I can't.
No, I can't. And that comes down to that new age shit they call the one. And actually, I really thought about this. There had to be, we all had to come from one thing. One split itself and divided from there. I guess one said to the other, I'm going to go my way, you're going to go your way. You know what I mean?
We've split out very far.
Huh?
And we've split out very far.
I figured the one that split from the other was the one where he did the inverted shit, and then we got stuck in that one. But we're entangled with the other.
Yeah, because truthfully, you know, if we were sort of the evil ones, you know, that thrive off of just maliciously stealing energy and whatever, then we would just be in that, and we would actually be enjoying that. Like, we're not that, so we don't enjoy it, so we actively feel repulsed by that. But I assume there is some being out there, or beings that just are actually what we call evil, and they feel naturally in that. They feel like we're infringing on them. When we say, no, you can't have my energy, they feel like we're infringing on their rights. It's some weird shit like that.
But we could be entangled with the other, and the other could be the evil, and we could be the good. We could be entangled. We kind of swapped around somehow. I mean, I think of all different types of concepts.
You kind of have to. Sorry, go ahead, Joey.
Yeah, I was just thinking of like the whole idea of like if there was a creator or a single powerful being, it would get bored and isolated, sad of being alone. So then it would have to create this duality. This is a separation from self, and then it, like you guys were saying earlier, it seems like this certain group or faction is the one that's promoting this entire separation, and they're doing it by using whatever tools they have, knowing our psychology, obviously, and getting us to then align with their faction and adopt that.
Well, then you can also say that they are really us. There is no really they. Yeah. It was perhaps maybe we got bored, and this was a I mean, I guess it's a virtual reality shit. I mean, you could say that we got bored and we entered this game, and we planted the rules that we wanted to see to make up, and then we found out, oh fuck, we fucked up. We don't like this game no more, so we want to get out.
Right. But I've thought about that at a certain amount of depth, and just the idea from this level, if we make a VR, we make a 3D game that we can port ourselves into and shut off our sense of our larger body, right? Which would be this here body, but now we got the things connected and we're fully immersed in that 3D world. Like, the idea of doing that is that, okay, there's some sort of fail-safe thing that you can say inside of there in case you forget your actual self, right? And then, so I think if that is some sort of a thing that we're doing, then we forgot the safe word, or maybe that world out there, maybe there was an attack on that world and the system that we were inside of got fucked up somehow, like there's so many things that could happen just with that one simple thought experiment. And then if you talk about inception and like multiple layers deep, then you're in all kinds of crazy shit. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you just think of how virtual reality is really becoming a thing right now, and if it was a virtual reality play that we're in, and they're getting deeper into virtual reality, that's like a dream within a dream. Then you can get really lost, and that could be going on forever and ever and ever, like you said, Inception.
Yeah, there wouldn't be an end to it, especially if we're infinite beings. Where would the end ever be?
There wouldn't be an end, because that'd be infinite. That's a hard one to play with right there.
Yeah. And if it's infinite, there's no need ever to come back to the start, right?
Right. Because you want to go, yeah.
There isn't a start.
No. It could spiral out of nowhere.
Yeah. But at the same time, like, even with that, there is, to me, a grounding principle that is aware of all this infinite stuff, and it's aware of, minds exploding and things like that. like your mind getting overloaded and all this stuff. I feel like there's a sort of knowing that permeates the whole thing that makes it so it doesn't just go completely off the rails, because it can get really bad if you don't watch out.
It's just the fact that you know of those concepts. That you know that if you know all these multiple concepts, that you get back into yourself and you say, wait a minute now. How far can it really go?
Right.
Yeah.
You can go pretty far.
We're multi-dimensional beings too, because we're on all planes of existence.
Mm-hmm.
We're kind of entangled with everything through the verse.
You could also argue that the reason everything split out into individual beings was because we or whatever got tired of being all one thing, or it just needed to explode out. Who knows what it was that happened, but it's
to remember.
It's happened. It's already happened. And you can't, like, we have free will and stuff, but obviously you can't just change everything like you could on an acid trip, you know, or a DMT trip where you have one thought and your reality literally changes the second you have the thought. We can't do that here. Like, I can't just will my hand to turn into a tomato, then back to a hand again. And I can't do that with other people either, you know? Like, there are definite limits. And I think the limits are a hedge against that sort of knowing that it can get out of hand really, really, really fast, and just there's no more recognizable anything. It's just doing what it does.
That's the thing, we impose limits on ourselves, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. But they're not even known limits. Like, everyone internally has a set of limits, self-imposed limits, that I don't know what Joey's limits are. I don't know what Thomas's self-imposed limits are, and how these limits are going to interact with each other. It's almost impossible to. I guess that's why we have laws, because, you know, then you have some objective thing to look at.
I guess the main reason for connection, and the only reason actually that we need each other is so we can see what we're actually capable of, that we've like shut ourselves off of. Or you're just at least open to those things.
Mm-hmm.
I can never help but see life as like a giant playground that somehow, like, a Nazi dictator came in and said, like, this is how you play and this is how you don't play, and you better listen or else. Like, I can't help but see it as that, because once you see, like, it's kind of illusion anyway, then what's the point of holding it in one exact spot? There's just no point anymore.
Then you can come back to Occam's razor, the simplest solution. There was a virus that came into this realm. I mean, this is a simple solution. A virus came into this realm and disrupted this realm. I mean, you could look at it that way too.
Yeah, I've thought of that many times. I mean, it makes sense to me. I directly apprehended what you could consider as the virus. I went through that whole thing.
Directly apprehended. Would you care to expand on that a little bit? Or?
Yeah, I've talked about it many times, but the first time I smoked weed, it was, to my current understanding, a direct apprehension of that thing trying to eat me. Like, whatever that essence of that was, it was trying to eat me, and it went through every possibility of my mind went through every possible contortion through that 2-hour experience that felt like infinity, to basically dodge and weave and move and dance and not let it, like, grab me. And, like, getting into the beginning of it and coming out the end, there wasn't a whole lot of ability to manipulate or do anything, because everything was intertwined. Everything that I considered myself, thoughts, emotions, physical actions, future past thoughts, everything was all tied into this essence that just was like eating the edges of the reality as it was happening. And it was also manipulating the people into sort of predictive, like, wave format conversations, sort of horror show type, to my perception. It made the whole thing into like a weird horror show, like, that you are physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually trapped in, and every little movement is an attempt to not be in that. by me as the spirit being. And I did come out of it at some point. And I was back to sort of this freedom, this spacious stillness that like my actual being is. But while I was in that, it was just inevitable like rolling like they call the Fibonacci sequence, right? It's like a pattern that is recognizable as a pattern but never repeats. That's what the fucking virus is. That's what I understood it as.
Right, like it's infinite and never pattern goes on.
And it will eat. Yeah, it wants to eat you. Okay, it was trying to eat me. It didn't eat me unless this is the afterlife and I'm dead, which is a possibility also. But
kind of like the snake by eating its own tail.
Yeah, it's the Ouroboros shit. And like it took me, when I came out of that experience, it took me 10 years to integrate that and to not have a panic attack every single night I try to go to sleep. But that whatever that thing is, that virus thing, it's not around me anymore. I beat it or something, like somehow it can't eat me anymore, or maybe it ate itself while it was trying to eat me and it just disappeared or something. I don't really know. I just know that now the physicality in terms of being a binding thing, like where each motion like has to lead into this next motion and it has to do this, and that's how it was for me. It was a cascading waterfall. My moment was a cascading forced waterfall that tried to trap every bit of me during the experience. That's what it felt like.
Is this when you were smoking? You smoked some pot?
I had like 3 huge tokes out of a bong, and I'd never smoked weed in my life.
Maybe rather than it just being like a virus trying to consume you, maybe it's just a aspect of yourself that it's making itself known to you, or introducing itself in a way.
It's possible. I've thought of many different like possibilities as to what that experience was, but in sort of looking into the strange side of this world, that experience was 100% oppressive in trying to steal energy. I see that now. There was not any joy or love or exploring or sort of, nuance. There was nuance, but it was 100% oppressive, like soul stealing. That's what I got out of it. There was not any joy. Like there was terror in the beginning, but the terror got consumed by whatever was fucking trying to eat me. So there wasn't any, it's like a forced enlightenment or something.
Was it sort of like you stopped feeding it? Is that how you felt?
Yeah, I figured out that what it needed me to move internally, like react out of fear or anger and all that I did was I became very, very quiet. I'm still moving and interacting, but internally I'm absolutely still, so that thing doesn't have anything to grab onto to try to manipulate or try to cartwheel out in some direction. That's how I escaped from it, was I just became completely silent. And I've held on to that. I still see myself as silent. Even though I'm talking to you guys and I'm doing this, there is a level of movement internally that doesn't happen anymore, so I'm outside of the range of that sort of entrainment octopus arm or whatever that thing is that likes to grab onto beings. And who knows?
Is it kind of like you sense that you have a bubble around you, like you're in your own verse? And
yeah, you could say that. Yeah, it's like I learned how to encrypt everything that is me beyond all attack possibilities, and if I see something coming into attack, that thing that I went through somehow made me very strong against attacks, so I can see attacks and I can not react, and I can figure out how to move in such a way that they don't latch on.
That sounds similar to what Sethika's talked to me about the circle of the magician.
Yeah.
Have you heard about that? Have you ever listened to Sethika's work?
I've listened to him a few times. Yeah.
Well, I started to become one of his pupils. I don't really consider myself a pupil because I consider everybody teacher and pupil. But I listen to some stuff, and he has some viable stuff to talk about. And he talks about the circle where you draw your circle and you stay in that circle, and anything that comes towards that circle, and I don't like to propagate any entity myself. I don't deal with any entities because it's not part of my outgoing person, my field. But if they do, you go in and you talk to them on their level, on your level. You say, yeah, I'm just as powerful as you are.
Right.
And maybe we can have a little discussion.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
And if it doesn't jive, I'll just make you disappear.
Exactly. And we have that ability because this world is a distillation of the all possibility, right? It's a distillation of all possibilities. And if you stay in the sort of neutral, if you stay out of attack mode and something is attacking you, you have every right to say, "Be gone! You don't exist anymore." Like and it doesn't mean that to that being, if that being has an internal state, it does not mean that you are literally making them disappear. It means you're wiping them from your observable sphere.
Right.
That's what that means. And they disappear off onto another timeline, or you disappear to them at the same time as they disappear to you. It's something like that. It's just the frequencies are no longer allowed to be entangling anymore. Because everything is allowed in a sense. Even the violence is allowed in a sense, and you have to somehow do mental gymnastics to figure out how could sort of everything be allowed, but it is. And you know, everything is an experience. Everything is an experience. You can't argue with actual experience. Even if it's torture or rape or murder or all these things, you know, on some level that being probably signed up for it somehow. Or else just us as God being split up into all these things signed up for it when the split happened. Whether you know about it or not, it doesn't matter. Like if something happens, if a flood comes and sweeps you down the thing, like what are you doing about it? You're just in the flood.
You can go with the flow.
Yeah. Hi, Elena.
Is that a Gary?
Hey, Elena. What's up?
Oh.
Come say hi. Oh wait, she can't join us, Menzel. No, she can say hi.
Say hi from a distance. Hi.
Hey, Crystal.
Wanna go closer? Hello.
They just got home. Sorry.
That's all good.
Yes.
It's all good. So, I think Rama. Huh?
Rama coming on, or is time almost up?
Okay, we had two others that were supposed to come on. Time's almost up, but Samir was supposed to come on. He said, "I hope you guys had a great meeting. I couldn't get the Zoom to work, but I will keep working on it." And Ramo said he said he muddled dates and that he's having breakfast with his father. He said, "I'll jump on as timing dictates." So I was thinking we could try doing a weekly thing. I don't know if that's too much to ask for me or for anybody else. I really don't know because I don't really follow routines at all. We could try doing weekly, and then if that's too much, maybe try doing monthly. Monthly probably seems sort of a reasonable thing.
I'm pretty much up for anything. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, whichever. What do you feel about it, Joey?
Yeah, I could try to do weekly. I like that idea.
Okay.
The idea of meeting and connect with you guys works for me.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to bring a topic, that's completely fine. I don't ever forbid any topics. And again, to me, it's not about fixing the world or saving the world or anything, or even saving ourselves. Like, this is an experience, and as an interdimensional being called a human male, like, it's very easy to get caught up in your own mental it goes out, it goes out really far, and we do need support as well. So that's the main thing, is sort of just having a bit of a brotherhood and a very open format.
Indeed. Thank you.
I like
for
that.
reminding us.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. It was good. 11:10. We're at about an hour and 10 minutes, so we'll just try and keep it Sundays at 10 to 12 ish. Depending on my battery, maybe an hour to start off. If you guys know anybody you think would benefit from this, feel free to invite them and send them my way. It doesn't have to be on Facebook. I can send that Zoom link anywhere. So
Cool. Thank you.
yeah, thanks
Thank you, Gary.
for coming
I
on.
really like this.
Yeah, it was fun. tell Elena and Crystal I said hi, Joey.
Will do. It's a pleasure to meet you, Thomas. Thank you.
Thank you, Joey. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Thank you.
All right, you guys take care. All right.
All right.
See you soon.
Peace out. Peace out.
Bye.
Thanks.